Listen here. Some of you may for the first time be hearing that sinemia, the movie ticket subscription that rivaled moviepass, has shut down. Like, they didn't even let their members know by sending them an email. There was no notification in the app. You had to find out by going to their actual site and seeing that the service had been shut down. And this was a service that within the last year duped so many people into thinking they were signing up for a monthly subscription, hit them with the full $441 annual fee, charged extra transactions, ended up getting copies of people's IDs and even social security numbers before trying to disappear like they never even existed. Let me sadly explain. So for those who don't know, way back in the day, there was a service called moviepass that allowed you to watch a movie a day for roughly $35 a month. And honestly, if it wasn't for that, we probably never would have started the A to Z show, which eventually spawned off this cartoon self right here. And I'd still be waiting for movies to arrive on Redbox. Obviously, that service ended up growing, so much so that they made this big deal with other companies, and that allowed them to drop their prices to $9, which seemed utterly impossible. It was utterly impossible. They started having more glitches, they wanted to charge extra fees, then it got to the point that you were able to open up the app, there was just no theaters you could check into. Bro, I swear there was weekends where I had better chances checking into a Sunday service than a matinee. But besides crumbling harder than Season 8 with its debt and tech issues, a lot of other services popped up when they were going down. Some of the best being AMC A-List that I still personally use the most. It is making its changes already, but it's the only one that'll allow you to see Endgame 47 times if you wanted to. People are still waiting on Regal to come up with one. A bunch of other theaters really just released Reward Club memberships. But then there was Sinemia, one that went the package route where you can pick either 1, 2, or 3 movies that you would see that month. However, they were going to let you see them in IMAX and 3D. You could do couples packages. On top of that, even if you wanted to check in from your home, which is something you couldn't do with MoviePass, you were able to do that. You were able to even get tickets in advance. It wasn't perfect, but it did end up saving me a lot of money whenever I was in New York or LA and I didn't want to pay $45 to watch a movie. But as more and more people heard about them, they grew. They got new plans, they got new features, and they also got too cocky. See, even after South Park made an episode making fun of us for agreeing to the terms and conditions that we never read, we still don't read them. There's a clause within their contract that says that you can't sue them in case they did something like, I don't know, taking your money and then just shutting down their company. Hell, the only reason I'm not showing you the contract on screen is because one of the stipulations, depending on how you read it, may be implying that I can go to jail if I use it and show it without their consent.
Fine, you don't want to be part of this? Then just sign right here. No, you didn't read it! This says we don't ever have to let you out and then we can do whatever we want! Damn it, why won't it read?
This becomes a big deal because of something they did right before they shut down, something that sounds very schemish. See, Sinemia is based in Turkey, and other than signing up through their website, there's really no way to contact them. I've sent them 16 emails, and by God, I haven't been ghosted this hard since I was a sophomore. But last December, I decided to do a little experiment. I had signed up for a second account, which I know it's against the rules. They don't exist anymore. What are they going to do? Just in case, a friend I know started a second account, and we noticed as I looked over their shoulder that they had implemented some pretty crazy stuff in the final months. For starters, I've been paying monthly no problem and the price has never changed for me, but when my friend signed up, she got charged the entire annual fee even though she clearly clicked monthly before submitting. I was there. And the more I talked to other people who had recently signed up, same thing was happening for them. Not only is that especially scummy for the people who signed up just last month, paid the entire $400 and something, and then they shut down, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal to do. I did eventually find out that you can sign up for a monthly plan. It was just kind of hidden, and you have to pay an initiation fee of $20 if you want to go monthly. Then after they snatched up your entire paycheck, that whole annual fee, they have the audacity of offering you the option to pay them $10 so you can use your account right away. Because for some reason, your account, which was just created and paid for instantly, has to be delayed for 2 weeks before getting activated. It's 2019 and companies still act like you have to wait for something digital to go through. No, that's dumber than when doors take the days off. There is no reason to delay it other than you're so greedy you're skimping people off of their first 2 weeks. or you want them to pay a lame fee just to start the service. What's even worse is that once you've paid that fee, you then had extra fees of $1.80 per person per transaction. Even if Fandango or whatever app you were using wasn't charging you a service fee, sinemia was still making an extra $2 off you each time. Now, of course, if you did want to avoid those fees that came about with, their simpler cardless plan, you can actually order a card, which most of us already had if you signed up earlier, and even though it wasn't expired, they just canceled everybody's card to switch over to this cardless plan because they were going to charge us fees. Here's the thing though, they were still giving out cards if you wanted to avoid the cardless fees. The thing is if you wanted to order a card, that was an extra $25. And you still get charged fees if you use it online. They wanted to tighten security, which I understand, so they wanted to make sure people weren't abusing the service, like they were abusing their customers. So they started charging you if you forgot to check in when you went to the theater. That was something that they did in order to make sure that it was you actually going, but they would charge you. On other days, they would purposefully delay and put glitches on the app that people were noticing in order for you to have trouble with it and not actually use their service. So if you were trying to impress a girl and your app's glitching, which is supposed to save you the $25 right before you watch 5 Feet Apart, and now you look like an idiot who looks like he's playing Flappy Bird on your iPhone, like sinemia, you were doing some psychological damage here, and I don't know if that's in your contract. Another really annoying thing, besides not being able to use the thing I pay money to use, was that they really had no email that they were responding to. Like, there was no phone number you could use to contact them. They made it as difficult as possible. And even if you found one of the ones that they were sharing in some of the forums and some of the threads, they would keep you on hold for so long, you could literally rewatch the entirety of Dead to Me on Netflix before you even heard a human breath. Sinemia then realized that what they were doing was wrong and actually listened to their customers, and they actually decided to redesign their app by adding ads in the middle of me trying to check in. They then asked for tips. In the middle of me not being able to check into the movie on their app that I'm paying for, they asked me to tip them. Sinemia. People don't give to Wikipedia and they use that almost every day. Then comes the ones that some of you aren't going to believe, and while we didn't get duped with these, my friend and I have totally different accounts, a lot of people were, and while I know it's easy to call them dumb for it because who would give us this information, I can guarantee you we are signed up to several other services that are taking them. But what they did was, in early 2019, they were pausing people's accounts unless they sent in a picture of their driver's license, ID, or birth certificate in order to verify the account holder to prevent fraud. And in the worst cases, they were able to convince several people to send in their entire social security number. Sinemia people then start booking several interviews that are very heavily media based, so it was getting them more traffic. They're collecting as much money as they can. They're doing these crazy sales knowing good and well they're about to shut down in April, and they got a bunch of people to sign up and then they disappeared. No email to let them know, app just stopped working, the CEO was blocking people on Twitter, and anyone wanting their money back had to call their bank in order to stop those transactions. Now, how Sinemia's terms of service affects what happens next, I don't know. I'm sure someone will make a more in-depth video on the legality of it. I'm just making people aware of it, but it's just crazy. Like, when the movie Us came out, which I don't know how many of you have seen that, but when that movie came out, their service, their app didn't work, which was ironic considering Us was a huge movie. And then as soon as the literal biggest movie of all time gets released, they shut down.
How convenient is that? Wow.
So let's recap. This movie theater service that knew they were going to get a lot of people decides to boost sales 6 months before they were going to shut down, attracting way more customers. They were able to charge the entire annual fee up front, along with extra fees, tips, pop-up ads. They then limited users by causing the app to glitch so they couldn't use the service and left open only one source of communication if you wanted to reach their customer support. They then duped people into sending in front and back copies of their licenses or IDs, birth certificates, and in some cases their full social security number. This doesn't even include the data that they tracked on all of their users, which makes them a bunch of money by selling it. Like, you guys don't even know the numbers. And on top of that, they also still keep the data for their own disposal. And while you may be thinking that, hey, it doesn't matter, my data's free, It is worth way more than you know. They now have patterns and literal forms of identification that they can reproduce. It's like an experiment that was run to see how easily they can breach a person's privacy, and the people let them do it. See, moviepass it got bad, but it never was evil. It was just a bunch of technical issues and not being able to keep up with demand. They installed a 24-hour clock that was annoying, but it made sense. They made you check into the theater, but that was so you weren't loading your card and swiping it at Walmart. But taking money and personal info before dipping, y'all are like the evil corporation from Cloudy 2.
Who's evil?
Not evil, evil.
Could they be that? I don't know. I don't know how much of a mastermind they are, but I think the lesson is in being careful with all of these subscription services and all the other ones that are popping up. They're picking up on our daily patterns. They know our locations. They know what habits put us in what mood, and they're creating a digital profile of ourselves. We just don't own a copy of it. Someone else does. Maybe they were an honest startup, right? That wanted people to see movies, and when they saw that MoviePass was burning, they decided on this last-minute ploy in hopes of making it out alive. Maybe they won't be able to fight the class action lawsuit that's working to find a loophole against them. Maybe we're still in the Napster days when it comes to these type of theater services, and there's still a long way to go. Maybe they'll end up being as big of a joke as the Fire Festival people. Unless they faked it just like they did. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. It sucks. I had recommended some of these way back in the day. I had a video and, I made sure it was like, yo, these things can change at any moment. Even back in the MoviePass days, they had it there. We can change at any moment. That's just some of the things that you risk when you're there. But what sucks is, like, for me, I've been blessed to do this for a living. But for other people who really use this because there's no other way for them to see movies, and then you screw just regular hardworking people, y'all are scumbags. But again, I wanted to make this aware for first and foremost people who may not know that their service isn't working. Cancel that thing real quick, make sure they don't charge you. But also, if you did have this and you want to know to do something, I'm sure someone will have a discussion down below. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Your favorite way to see movies. Do you go on matinees? Do you go on those $5 Tuesdays? Do you meet up with the paletero man or whoever your plug is? Whatever it is, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, because watching Let Me Explains will always be free.